Hello and welcome to Wait, for real?
A true crime and paranormal podcast. I'm Grace.
And I'm Katie, and we look like we're like two different heights right now.
I know
I'm like,
yours
I
is
need
so
to
high
like
up.
sit
I'm like, dang. Okay, how
down.
about that? Better? No.
Yeah, that's better.
Cool. We are re-recording this episode.
Yes.
So for the first time for us, our software that we use for recording audio and video, I would like to say that it glitched, not us. Basically what
Maybe a little of
happened,
both.
yeah, because basically what happened is my audio was showing up fine in the audio files, but Katie's, it acted as if her mic was never turned on,
Mm-hmm.
which is weird because we test it. I mean, like also like right now, like mine has a light on it, so you can
Right,
tell
mine
that it's
has a light
on.
on, but my light was on the whole time too.
Yeah. So I think it might have been like a combination of things, like one, either like we bumped a cord or something, or two, the software that we use glitched and then like we couldn't recover it. I had reached out to them for their tech support and basically was like, hey, we just did this whole episode. And the beginning of the episode, it was like we were off timing. So we were
Mm-hmm.
talking over each other.
Yeah.
And then it's like her audio just cut out the rest of the
Yeah.
episode. I was like, well, it's literally just me talking to myself the entire time.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, that's why we didn't have an episode this past week, but we
Mm-hmm.
are starting over again.
Yes.
So we're gonna re-record this episode.
Right.
And now that I'm saying that, I forgot to pull up the article I talked about the yogurt shop
Shop.
murders.
That's okay. You can pull it up.
I'm pulling it
And
up.
a reversal of our usual, I am unwell this week.
I
Grace
know.
is well. I have who knows what, a cold, the flu, COVID, could be anything.
I am gonna go under the assumption that you have COVID.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what they think I
that's
had too when I was sick not too long ago.
yeah,
But yeah, that's why Katie sounds a little under the weather.
yes, but it's okay. We're gonna push through. We're gonna rally.
You're on the up
It's
and
gonna
up,
be great.
hopefully, right?
I am. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. Let's talk about the DNA helping solve a 30-year-old case.
Hmm.
So, it's going to sound really weird when Katie and I talk about this because we just talked about this a couple days ago,
Yeah.
but I'm going to like just go over it again basically. So, police in Austin, Texas said DNA technology has helped them finally identify the man who killed four teenage girls at a yogurt shop in 1991 in a crime that haunted the city for years. And this is coming from ABC News. I'm just reading directly from their article.
Hmm.
Jennifer Harbison, Sarah Harbison, Eliza Thomas, and Amy Ayers were attacked in the shop and all shot in the head. Lead Detective Daniel Jackson said at a news conference on Monday the girls were left nude and tied up, and there was evidence of sexual assault, he said. The building was then set on fire before the killer fled the scene. So in 1999, four suspects were arrested, and two of them confessed, but later recanted. Recanted.
Recanted.
That's the
You're
word.
close.
Recanted. I was close.
Yep.
And so charges were dropped against the first two, but the other two who had confessed went on to trial, and they were convicted of capital murder. So the convictions were then later overturned on appeals due to constitutional errors. And before they could be retried, prosecutors said that advanced DNA analysis pointed to someone else because basically there was no physical evidence that ever linked those two individuals to the murders. So another individual took over the case in 2022, and they started looking into other DNA databases and things along those lines. And basically, they found a link between it's called a YSTR, which is the Y chromosome, and it's a DNA testing strategy.
Hmm.
And it says that the South Carolina State Lab was the only lab in the country that responded to us that had a match. The full profile and every allele was the same. And
That's
says
crazy.
in August, the lab found the match to the 1990 sexual assault and murder in Greenville, South Carolina. And it was the profile that they had, and that is Robert Eugene Brasher's. So Austin police then retested that DNA strand from under Ayers' fingernails, so one of the
Hmm.
girls, was directly compared to Brasher's profile, and it matched perfectly. So before the yogurt shop murders, Brasher's had served time in the prison for a shooting of a woman, and he was granted parole in 1989. And then DNA has also linked Brashers to multiple unsolved murders and sexual assaults across the country. Uh, he had sexual assaults, murders throughout the 90s that he would never actually had stand trial for because Brashers died by suicide in 1999 after a standoff with police. So obviously it's a double-edged sword here because one, closure is here for the family.
Right.
I heard my cat in the distance. Yeah, so the family has closure, but at the same time, it's unfortunate because, you know, he sort of didn't get to see, like, they didn't get to seek the justice that they wanted. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah. They didn't get to hold him accountable.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So this was big news, I guess now 2 weeks ago, but when we talked about it, it was more recent.
Yeah.
um, and did we ever figure out that episode that we covered that was similar?
No, I completely forgot about that. I got
Sorry,
so distracted by like the audio getting all messed up that
yeah.
it like out of sight, out of mind. But that's so funny. I'll need to look into that.
Okay.
Grace, when we first recorded this, Grace was like, we covered an episode similar to that, but we haven't ever covered the yogurt shop murders. But Grace
Yep.
had texted me at one point and said, "Do you know this crime?" And I had said yes, so she didn't cover it. But we will eventually cover it. And hopefully we'll be able to dig up more on the guy who committed the crimes and his crimes across the country to
Yes.
include.
Yes, definitely. Okay. So for this week's episode, I keep thinking that people already know what I'm talking about. It's just
I
you.
know.
Um, so it's the start of October. Well, the second week of October now, but my goal was to always do something that's Halloween themed because Katie told me to. And
That's right.
so this time I'm talking about people that were actually killed in Halloween attractions. So think of haunted houses, haunted hayrides, that type of thing.
Yep.
So I'm going to give you 6 like short stories of incidents that happened, just like a couple sentences each. And then I'm going to talk about the one that's like probably the most notable one, which dealt with several people dying in a haunted house. So first things first, we're going to talk about Hong Kong. So there was a moving coffin that killed somebody there. So in September of 2017, a 21-year-old named Chung died after he was struck by a moving piece of machinery an ad popped up, in a haunted house.
Yeah.
Chung had made his way through the maze called Buried Alive, which was part of a Halloween-themed festival at Ocean Park in Hong Kong. 5 minutes after entering, park attendants found Chung unconscious in the maze. The local government believed he entered into the area for mechanical operations that was not open to visitors and was hit by a mechanical part. So Chung was then pronounced dead at the hospital, and the government ordered the ride to be closed after the fatal accident. So basically, he went where he wasn't supposed to go.
Yep.
Then again, if it's a haunted attraction, I was thinking about this, is like, did he know he wasn't supposed to go there, or was he just trying to find a way out?
Right. That's the question.
That is a question. I tried to look that up last week, actually, and everything was not in English, so I gave up. Sorry, guys.
It's okay.
Anywho, next one. Oh, this is one when we talked about it, we were like, what the fuck? So basically it says a school principal accidentally hanged himself in front of his students. So this was in September of 1957. The small farming community of Utica, Kansas, local parents and school officials were growing worried about the extent of which high school seniors were hazing incoming freshmen. Annual gymnasium parties commemorating the new pupils had resulted in too much roughhousing, so English teacher Betty Stevens and Principal William Hobart Saley devised something different for their students. So Mrs. Stevens led her charges to the abandoned farmhouse a couple of miles outside of town. She and some of the other staff had decorated the dilapidated home into a haunted house for a pre-Halloween party. Katie and I were talking about how like this would have never flown today, ever.
No.
One in a million years.
No.
Yeah, because this is 1957. So it says the centerpiece was then the principal, who would then pretend to be hanging in the middle of a dark room covered in grease paint and ketchup to simulate blood. So the students did indeed get a kick out of the moaning, limping, hanging principal. But when Mrs. Stevens slipped out of the party to go get a picture of the principal hanging, she made a shocking discovery, and that he had slipped, causing the noose around his neck to actually tighten. So the moaning and struggling principal wasn't acting at all. He was actually slowly dying in front of his students.
Oh my God, it's just horrific.
It's so morbid.
I just can't think of like a circumstance where that seemed like a good idea. I mean, maybe it's because it's so different than the 50s, but that is
I feel like
wild.
people probably do stupid shit like that still today,
Oh,
but
so true.
it's also like, I don't know. I would never put a noose around my neck. Not even
Mm-mm.
like you. No, that's just not how that works.
No,
Yeah. Oh, excuse me.
you're excused.
Thank you. That's so dainty.
Little dainty.
Okay. So next we're going to talk about a person being scared to death. So in October of 2014, 16-year-old Christian Faith Bengay visited the Land of Illusion Haunted Scream Park in Middletown,
Mm.
Ohio. And this is a seasonal Halloween attraction where her father's band was to perform that evening. Bengay entered the haunted attractions and then collapsed. She was given CPR by her mother and paramedics, but she succumbed to a fatal heart attack.
Yeah.
So they're under the assumption that she scared herself into a heart attack, which caused her to pass. But it should be noted that Christian only had one lung, and this put
Hmm.
obviously significant stress on her heart.
Yeah.
And basically the coroner's office, whenever it came back, they said, yeah, like the fear exacerbated this issue. And that's most likely what caused her to die, which is wild.
Yeah.
And
Horrible.
I mean, this is why they have the signs outside of haunted houses now. So
Yeah, we talked about well, you guys weren't here. We talked to each other about how that is just like the worst way to go. I mean, there's so many bad ways to die, but this is up there, and how I just would hate to go
I
being
wonder if
scared to death.
anyone's ever died from Halloween Horror Nights or Halloween Horror Nights
Oh,
related. You know what I mean? Like how many people have had heart attacks? But then again, Universal and Disney are like notorious for never letting somebody die or get hurt on their property.
yeah, Disney
And
specifically, because they won't like call it until they're off of the property.
yeah,
Usually,
yeah. So
I
like I
think
was
we talk
doing
about
like air
someone.
quotes.
Yeah, we talk about someone that dies at Disney in this episode.
We do. We do
And I
indeed.
don't know, so I don't know if it's like a US Disney specific thing where they wait until they're off the property, but yeah, theme parks. I don't know. We'll have to look into the Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah. Okay. Next one. So this is another fake news that accidentally delivered a real life hanging.
Mhm.
So in October of 1990, a 17-year-old Brian Jewell was working in Lakewood, New Jersey, a haunted hayride, and he was performing a stunt that he had done several times before. So in the act, Jewell would simulate hanging himself with a fake noose by stepping off of a platform about 1 foot off of the ground. That night, however, the noose, which was designed not to tighten, inexplicably choked and killed him when he stepped off the platform. So about 40 people unwillingly saw a real hanging corpse. And as the tractor driver became concerned later, whenever it dawned on him that Jewell had not really delivered his usual scripted speech, is when they went to find him and realized that it was actually now a deceased human being.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next one. Happy thoughts. This is a haunted hayride led to vehicular homicide. So on Halloween night in 2016, the small town of Chunky, Mississippi, I remember laughing about that last time,
Yes.
had a haunted hayride that ended in a fatal disaster. So the modest ride, holding just about 10 guests, was moving along the rural Mississippi countryside when tragedy struck. A large Ford F-150 pickup truck collided with the trailer carrying the people. And it says that 3 passengers were killed and the rest were injured,
Ugh.
which is insane. Ugh. I mean, that seems like a little like out of the realm of like a haunted house incident. You know what I mean? Because it's like
Yeah.
sort of like an outdoor. Oh my God. And like exterior influence came in on that. Exterior?
Yes.
What's the word?
External.
Oh my gosh. Where was I
Like an
going with that?
external force.
I'm
You were
like
close.
interior, exterior, the inside, the outside.
It's okay. I knew what
Anyways,
you meant.
thank you. Thank you. People on
Yes.
the Everyone else is just like stopped listening. They all just go
Yeah.
click. They just hung up. Yep. Okay, so this is the one that we were talking about with Disneyland. And it was a man that was electrocuted at
Mhm.
Disneyland's Phantom Manor.
Yep.
So, Phantom Manor, which is a popular haunted house ride at Disneyland Paris, is designed to offer guests a frightful but harmlessly fun experience. It is heavily visited by the mystery-based amusement. It's oh my goodness, it's a heavily visited
Mystery?
It is a heavily visited mystery-based amusement ride at the
You
park.
got there. That's what matters.
It's going to take us a couple days. In 2016, however, Disney cast and crew members made a grisly discovery at Phantom Manor. A 45-year-old technician, whose name was never released, was found electrocuted to death. So Disney closed the ride, allowing the police to perform proper investigation. But we did learn last time that we talked about
Yep.
this, that they reopened the ride after the fact.
Mhm.
And again, like we were saying, usually Disney is pretty good about making sure they never have a death on property.
Yep.
Maybe something's different because this was obviously in Paris, but at least the US based Disney Worlds don't
Yes.
have death on their properties,
Allegedly.
allegedly. So, okay, so those were those 6 short ones, but then I wanted to talk a little bit about one that happened at Six Flags Great Adventure. So, this is based on a haunted attraction called the Haunted Castle.
Okay.
So this was at the Six Flags Great Adventure amusement park in Jackson Township, New Jersey. So the original haunted house was built prior to shoulder season. So shoulder season is basically that time between summer and fall, whenever you're sort of leaning on the shoulder of the other season to make money.
Mhm.
And it's just a way to boost attendance and get ready for a bigger holiday season coming up.
Right.
So originally this house was intended to be like a temporary structure that then they were going to rebuild and or make better if it did well.
Mhm.
And again, it was only supposed to be opened like at night, so during the dark and only a certain time of year, but then they realized that it was pretty popular, so they opened it all times. The park was open, so day and night, and it was open basically like year round almost, because it was so popular. So on May 11th of 1984, so a fire destroyed the attraction. So it trapped and actually killed 8 teenagers.
Horrific.
Yes. And Six Flags Great Adventure and its parent company, Six Flags, were indicted on aggravated manslaughter and accused of recklessly causing the deaths by taking inadequate precautions against a fire. And in the trial, the prosecution argued that repeated warnings by safety consultants to install sprinklers and smoke and fire alarms had been ignored. The defendants denied any culpability, obviously, and they contended that the fire was arson and that there was no amount of precautions that would have saved lives. So the trial jury found the defendants not guilty of the criminal charges. However, Six Flags had to pay millions in civil damages to the victims' families.
As they should.
Yes. So let's talk about the operation of the ride, the construction of it, and then what had happened that night. So the purpose of the Haunted Castle was a walk-through dark ride. Again, air quotes because I feel like saying dark ride's weird. Was to entertain its customers by frightening them. What a surprise.
Yep.
So exterior decorations included things like plastic monsters, skulls, features to make this like scary experience. And they basically made false turrets and towers that led to the illusion of height in this one-story structure. And the goal of it was to make it look like a medieval castle.
Right.
So after crossing a drawbridge over a moat that was created, visitors would enter the castle and have to feel along the way of a 450-foot long convoluted path of dim corridors, occasionally being startled when an employee dressed as a mummy or something jumped out at them to scare them. Very typical haunted house attraction.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So you're going to see things like coffins, hanging spiders, skeletons, things falling from the ceiling, all these things. And then on top of that, you had actors or scare actors that would then take on characters from movies or famous shows or ghost stories. And a couple of notable ones would be Count Dracula, Frankenstein's monster, the Wolfman, Lizzie Borden, and Those were just a few of them.
Yep.
And also to note, there would be strobe lights and eerie sounds completing the scene that would be playing the entire time and flashing. So at some point, you should be able to see in front of you because of the strobe light giving you some sense of lighting. So the layout of the haunted castle was sort of interesting because it basically was 2 sets of 8 semi-trailers lined up in a mirrored configuration. So
Okay.
a single trailer was placed in between all of them, and this was sort of like mission control. So
Yeah.
that's where the person navigated the lights, the sounds, and all those things. And then on top of that, that's where the actors would go to change in their costumes and then go to their respective areas.
Mm-hmm.
So during the show, you would have a doorman who basically would stand at the entrance to the castle, and then they would direct you in one or two directions. So basically, this was to give people an opportunity to split up and also give more time between parties, so you were less likely to run into the person in front of you and sort of
Right.
ruin the experience you were given. Most of the times they had both sides open to the attraction because they were so busy.
Mm-hmm.
But if they were ever slow or they, weren't at the typical numbers that they would be, they would close one side of it and just use
Right.
the other. Okay. So let's talk, Ben, a little bit more about the construction of it, because this
Mm-hmm.
makes a big point when it comes to the fire.
Right.
So, as I said in the beginning, it was intended to only be used as like a test for more substantial attraction that would be built later on. I see a cat.
Yes, Archie has joined us.
Oh,
No
look at
buttholes
him.
for free. Can you please? There we go.
He's just doing
Okay.
whatever he
He
wants. I love
is.
it.
He is.
Very cool. Anyways,
Sorry about that.
no, best disruption ever.
Yes.
So again, supposed to be a test thing, so they probably didn't spend as much money as they should have on building it and construction. But it basically, again, like I said, was a wooden front that made it look like a medieval castle. And then you're going to have, what's it called? Let me see. I lost my words. Where are my words? Blue, blue,
They're
blue. Okay,
gone.
here we
They
go.
left you. Okay.
Yeah. So the trailers were all linked by plywood partitions to create a complex maze.
Mm-hmm.
The trailers obviously were going to be interconnected aluminum, and the interiors of the walls were built with plywood walls and ceilings with wooden studs for support. Excuse me. The materials used on the walls included foam, rubber, various fabrics and plastics, plywood, and tar paper.
Mm-hmm.
So wax mannequins were used as props as well, and basically this thing was a ticking match, like a ticking time bomb. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yep.
everything about it sounded like it was flammable. So let's talk about to actually what happened that night.
Mm-hmm.
So a fire began in the attraction at approximately 6:35 p.m. on May 11th of 1984. Fanned by the building's air conditioning, it spread very rapidly due to the use of a flammable building materials. Shocker.
Mm-hmm.
So approximately 29 guests were in the attraction at the time. 14, including 4 park employees, were able to escape. 7 who survived were treated for smoke inhalation. And those killed included 8 teenagers from a group of 9 that had entered together. The lone survivor of the group had been carried to safety by a park employee.
Ugh.
I can't imagine having to live like that
No.
afterwards. So one witness, whose group entered several minutes after the group who fell victim, later testified that she saw flames coming from around the bend of the attraction's hunchback display. And she thought that it was part of the show. Like, they thought that that was the
Yep.
like the scare
Just-
tactic of it. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you got to keep going. And they only realized that the flames were real when the smoke, like they were inhaling actual smoke,
Yep.
and the heat of the fire was hitting them. So essentially what happened is somebody had yelled fire, they had turned around and went back to the entrance, bumping in and out of the walls and things to get out if they could. And they did. So firefighters from 11 surrounding communities responded, and the fire was declared under control by 7:45 p.m. So again, this is this is less than an hour that this thing was
Right.
burning. Also, the park remained open during this time because they didn't realize the severity of what had happened.
Mm-hmm.
Once they came to the conclusion that somebody had died, they immediately closed the park. But it sounds pretty messed up because they didn't realize that people had died in there because they couldn't just, they thought the bodies were mannequins.
Which is insane.
Yeah. The bodies were burnt beyond recognition, and it was nearly impossible to tell if they were human or not because the
Hmm.
attraction itself is like skeletons and mutilated
Right.
bodies and all these
Yeah.
things. Yeah, it was really bad. So I will say that during this time, only one side of the structure was being used. So the one side said both, and basically, the Jackson Township fire inspector testified that he had never inspected the castle at all,
Hmm.
and that the township considered the castle to be a temporary structure, and I'm using air quotes, even after it had been in the park for almost 5 years. And that's
That's
because it was built
crazy.
on those trailers. Yeah. So, I mean, this is like leading into that discussion of, like what makes a mobile home mobile versus a permanent structure because it has
Right.
wheels on it, yada, yada,
Yep.
yada. So, to note, the castle had lacked a building permit, a certificate of occupancy, fire and smoke detectors, and sprinklers, despite repeated recommendations by the park's own safety consultants. So, obviously, I'm not going to get into the whole legal proceedings of it because I did already talk about it in the beginning, but the investigation really highlighted a couple of things. One, no rules were followed.
Mm-mm.
Um, it's also tough too because you got to think. So amusement parks don't really. I mean, it depends, I guess, on which ones we're talking about. But in this instance, Six Flags buys those rides or attractions from other companies that come in and build
Right.
them. So now you're putting your trust in another company that then has to come in here and say, okay, well, we built this to the right specifications. It's safe, yada, yada, yada. So that was a big argument that Six Flags had is like, hey, we didn't build this. That was somebody else that built it. Sort of a cop out, if I had to guess.
But then, like, you have to think, like, that was supposed to be built as a temporary. It was supposed to be temporary. It was supposed to be up. So, like, then you get into the legalities of, okay, well, you as the Six Flags decided to keep it up because it was making you money. You didn't look at like that. The difference between what is needed for an actual physical structure that's meant to stay up for years and years and years has to be
Yep,
different than something that was supposed to be temporary that can be torn down after a few months. Like that
exactly.
wasn't built for longevity. It's just like fucking
Exactly.
cop out. This pissed me off last time. It's pissing me off now. I'm like, fuck you guys. And for those of you that don't know, Grace has a PhD. I mean, we all know. Okay, we were there through the journey, but yours is in human factors, which
Literally
goes
this.
right, yeah, which goes along with this. I was like, I still don't totally understand it, but
Close enough.
yeah. I mean, right? It's like checking the safety of structures and I don't know things. I'm making it up now, but
No, that's right. That's right. Yeah,
okay. So I'm
essentially, it's
sure.
like ensuring that the world is a safer space because humans are stupid.
Yes, yeah. So I'm sure you can see all the things that are a disaster with this.
100%. And like, so I went through Reddit to see a couple posts about this to see if like anyone else has ever speculated. And there was always this like rumor that, the emergency exit doors were covered with chains so you couldn't
Oh
get
my
out.
God, that's fucking horrible.
Yeah. Again, there's no legitimacy to that, like no accuracy. I don't know. But that was something that they talked about. And then I did want to talk about one little thing here. So
Hmm.
8 days after the fire, the statement from Ocean County prosecutor's office said that a 13-year-old boy had called the police after hearing the radio reports and that investigators were looking for witnesses. So the boy told the police that he had been befriended by a 14-year-old boy at the castle's entrance. He said that the older youth, who appeared to be familiar with the castle, had offered to guide him through. So he had said that the older youth used a cigarette lighter to find his way along down the corridor because it was so dark and a malfunctioning strobe light caused it to be pitch black. And eventually, this older youth bumped into and ignited a foam rubber wall pad along the corridor. So the prosecutor exonerated the older youth because they were never identified, one. And also, that is not their fault that they needed, one, to use a
No,
lighter to see, and two, it bumped into the wall of an
so
attraction that you're
sad.
supposed to use the wall to find your way along.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, the whole thing is horrible. And, like I said, with the legal proceedings, Six Flags paid out a lot of money, but unfortunately, like one of the victims' families tried to actually, take
go
it
to
to
court.
trial, and they weren't
Yeah,
able to settle, and they did not get a lot of money out of it, which
which
just sucks.
sucks. Which sucks. The whole thing just fucking sucks. It's something that should never have happened. And also, the bold claim that it was arson is so ridiculous.
Yeah, it's messed up. I mean, the whole thing is so sad. And
Yeah.
it's crazy too because, this just makes me think every time I think about this, I'm always like, oh, Halloween Horror Nights, Halloween Horror Nights.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, that's like 20 minutes from my house and it's my worst fear.
Yep.
But how many times are things happening there that people are like genuinely unwell, but nobody's doing anything because they hear screams and think it's part of the attraction?
Yeah. They have to have so many protocols in place now, though, and
Yeah.
like even the people that are dressed up, the actors, they have to know when to step in and if someone is getting too
It's like they
um
need like a safe word, but
yeah. So it's
a safe
I
scream.
yes, yeah. Yeah, I think that they're probably pretty well trained and they probably I know that they have EMS and everything on standby at these events. So it's
Yeah.
in a much better place now, especially for a corporation that big. I don't know why Six Flags. I know Six Flags is huge. I think we discovered last time that they have
Yeah.
over 50 properties, but for some reason it always like felt like they were the sketchy one of the group, you know? You
Yep.
have like Disney, Universal, Six Flags. I'm like,
Six
you
Flags was
know?
like the budget version of everything
Yeah,
else.
it's like the
Yeah.
carnival that stayed up too long. You know what I
It
mean? I'm like,
Oh my god,
it's
that's such a good way to
yeah,
describe it.
yeah. So I'm like,
It really is. Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. It's sad. I hope that, I mean, this was in the 80s, so they've learned from their mistakes, hopefully.
well, there's so many
But
more regulatory organizations that would keep this in check, right? Because like
oh yeah.
you have to be in compliance with fire safety now. You have like just
Not only that,
there's
like you have to have certifications and permits to do anything.
yes.
And I always say like in today's society, everybody's a snitch.
Yeah.
So if you do not have a permit, somebody about to tell on you.
Yes.
That's for everything.
Yeah.
I mean, permits are there for a reason. We don't even have to get into the bullshit that is like paying for permits and how long it takes, but I
Yeah.
digress.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just a lot of this stuff hopefully wouldn't happen today, but I think the biggest thing that we could take away from this episode, I said this last time, but again, you guys weren't here, is to not play around with nooses. I think that seems like common sense, but even if you think that you've rigged it to not tighten, it can always tighten. And apparently it happens quite frequently, right?
I
Like
can't
these
even wear a tight
accidental
necklace.
hangings. Yeah,
Yeah, accidental hangings are way more common than
people
we had
think.
hoped.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, if that's the takeaway from today, 100% justified. I mean, that's
Yes.
yeah. And I know that this is a very morbid way to start off Halloween month, but
Yes.
what else is new with us, right?
I know. I did want to talk about since it's Halloween.
Yeah.
So I saw another post about this and I wanted to bring it up. I brought it up to you, I think like a few weeks ago, but the Conjuring house is going to be going up for auction on October 31st, so on Halloween. I don't know what happened. I don't know why it's being like
Which
basically
house? Where is this
foreclosed.
house? Is
So
this the
the
one like in
house
like
itself, this is the one, remember when we
northeast?
went to when we went to the Two Girls One Ghost.
Yeah.
Okay, and they had stayed at the Conjuring house with Dana and Greg Newkirk.
Yeah. Ugh.
And yeah, I know. It's such a scary house. Here, let me see if I can pull up an article on it being so it is in Rhode Island.
Okay. I was gonna say everything creepy is in the obviously the New England area.
Yes, yeah, no, everything is so scary. So I think we will be yeah, so it says the Conjuring House in oh God, I'm gonna do my best. Burrillville, Rhode Island is being sold at a foreclosure auction on Halloween, October 31st, 2025 at 11 a.m. local time. It's going to be conducted by J.J. Manning Auctioneers, and the auction follows the foreclosure of the property from its previous owner, Jacqueline Nunez, and is expected to attract paranormal enthusiasts and paranormal film fans, including comedian Matt Rife, gross, blech, and YouTuber Elton Castee.
So I wonder if the previous owner, like, I want to know how long they owned the house for, you know?
I'm not sure, but I can tell you that she ran into legal and financial troubles. Her entertainment license was revoked by
There we
Burrillville
go.
officials, preventing her from running tours, and the financial strain led to a mortgage default, triggering the foreclosure.
Yeah, so it was a tourist attraction that then failed.
Oh,
Anyway,
okay. She bought it in 2022 for $1.5 million.
holy shit.
Yep.
Dang, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the property itself is just absolutely insane. I don't think we've ever done a deep dive on the Conjuring house itself, but we definitely will at some point.
I'll let you take that one.
Amazing. I would love to. Maybe that will be our Halloween bonus episode.
There you go.
Perfect.
That was
Okay, now
easy.
that I've yeah, see, we're figuring shit out, guys. We might be a week behind, but that's
In
okay.
reality, we're on schedule now because we just missed a week.
Yes. Yes, we're good now. We're back on
But
track.
yeah. So,
Okay.
okay. Well, if you made it this far, thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it, and or watching if you're on YouTube. If
Yes.
you are on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to us, give us a thumbs up, leave us positive comments on this video. If you are listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere where you listen, make sure to give us a 5-star review, give us some feedback, share us with a friend, all that good stuff. If you want to reach out to us, there's a couple ways to do so. You can email us at, which is waitforrealpod@gmail.com,
Mhm.
or we have our social media tag, which is at waitforrealpod. You could also try to find our own personal accounts if you wanted to. And
Yes.
then a couple of other ways. One, you can reach out to us by sending us a text. So that's going to be in our show notes. And lastly, if you want to help support us and you want to give money instead of just giving us reviews, which we also love,
Yes.
we have a link in our show notes to buy us a cup of coffee.
Mhm.
And we are stockpiling that like squirrels. And we are going to buy a house with it. I don't
A
know. A
lighthouse, a
lighthouse.
regular house, who knows?
Who knows? So, anyways, yeah, that's basically the shtick. Is there anything else I'm missing?
Send us your stories for Halloween. Please, please, please.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
And if you know any other haunted house stories that are crazy like this, let us know.
Yes, please do.
Awesome. Okay, well, we'll leave it as always.
Go to therapy.
And don't forget to leave lights on.